Welcome to the Week in Review, where we talk about the latest articles that have hit over on the Bryant Review, which is my really awesome website. I know that there are a bunch of people who said that they're not going to head over there, and that's totally cool. But I do want to give you guys a heads up of some of the coolest things that we've talked about, and maybe a few summaries of like the articles that really stood out this week. Maybe there's something that would interest you, and also the site is literally the coolest thing I've ever done. It's absolutely phenomenal. So without further ado, let's talk about the articles that we posted on the site. Now, the first article that I posted this week was a review of the Beelink ME Mini. This thing is an all SSD NAS, and I do want to mention that Beelink sent me this for review. Now, what's really cool about this device is it's got 6 NVMe slots in it, and I actually took some pictures, and there is some video as well. Now, let's talk about the specs real quick, because this has an Intel Twin Lake N150 CPU. It has 4 cores and 4 threads, and it can boost up to 3.6 gigahertz. This particular model has 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 at 4800 megahertz transfers a second. There's also a 12 gigabyte model as well. It has 2 2.5 gigabit LAN ports. It has Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2, which is an interesting inclusion here. It has 6 2280 M.2 slots. One of them is only 2280, and it can accommodate NVMe, but also eMMC and SATA 3 SSDs, and the other 5 can accommodate only NVMEs, but it has more size flexibility with 2230, 2242, and 2280 sizes. These slots are actually actively cooled as well, which is really neat, and that contributes to the heft, because this thing is actually, for its size, incredibly heavy. I don't know the actual weight offhand, but it is quite heavy. The other interesting thing to note here is that it ships with Windows 11 Home Edition, which I found curious. That's quite curious. And as I mentioned in the article, the fact that it ships with Windows Home Edition, as if it wasn't already an appropriate choice, Professional would have at least been at least somewhat rational. But of course, it would have cost Beelink more money to ship Windows Professional on here, so they didn't do it. And I bet you they figured that most people are going to be installing Linux on this machine, and that really is the appeal. Now, in my article, I actually cover some of the use cases that I could foresee with this device, including some light virtualization workloads, Docker containers, LXC containers, a web server or web development machine, a dedicated Home Assistant box. Although I will say that if you do want to do something like Home Assistant with this thing, the I/O is fairly limited here. There's a USB-C 3.2 Gen 2, and then there's a USB Type A, which is, I believe, 3.2 or 3.0, and then this one is a USB 2.0 port. So expansion is kind of limited on this thing. There's also, you could also use this as an all SSD cache for an upstream RAID array, which is an interesting idea. And then you can also use this as a home theater PC, because it has 4K 60 output on this HDMI port here, which also is a quite interesting use case for this, and I think I'm going to explore that going forward. In the article, I go into detail on installing Proxmox on this thing. Although after installing Proxmox, I think TrueNAS might be a better solution for this device specifically. But I do install Proxmox, and I also show you how to install the turnkey torrent server LXC container, which is a really neat pre-configured container that you can install right out of the box on this thing, and it's pretty awesome. And if you're not aware, the turnkey torrent server includes a file manager, as well as a Samba share, I believe, and transmission, a self-hosted transmission instance, which is super useful, especially if you want to seed some Linux ISO torrents. Now, this write-up here is pretty significant, and I am a big proponent of this little guy. I mean, this only cost, what was it? It's only $259. So if you're looking to get into, home labbing or setting up a NAS or even maybe hosting all of your media collection on a home theater PC. This is a pretty decent entry point for just $259. This thing is awesome. It has a ton of expandability for storage going forward. You can install any Linux distro you want on it, and it's fairly low powered as well. So if you're interested in this, you want to read more of my review, you can use the link to that below. There's also going to be links to every other story that we're talking about in this video. Honestly, if you check out no other article, I want you to go over and check out my retrospective on Unreal. Unreal, as I say in the article, holds a special place in my heart. Unreal Tournament specifically, like 1999 and 2004. These two games are phenomenal. And you might be saying, wait, you like online shooters? I liked online shooters when they were fun. Unreal Tournament was an absolute blast, right? So I played these games with my little brothers, with my cousins, with my neighborhood friends. And I consider this to be like a very personal and emotional article where I review like the games that like fundamentally changed my life as a kid, right? Like Unreal Tournament 1999, which was released on my 11th birthday. UT 2003, 2004, right? And even the Unreal Championship games. I go through all of them here. And I think that it's a really fun journey. It's a fun story that I got to tell. I think the conclusion is particularly emotional. And I don't know. I really love that I'm able to tell these kind of stories. And especially on such an emotional level where I don't really... and I'm fully aware of the irony, right? Of like a game that is like so cartoonishly violent, and yet it like stirs up such emotion in me, like raw, real emotion. And telling the story of Unreal through like my personal experiences with it, where I mean, we would literally be sitting around in a circle with dozens of PCs, right? And we would be arguing about which mutators we were going to allow for the next round of assault. And these arguments would literally come to fisticuffs sometimes, right? Like, I can't overstate how much I love Unreal Tournament. And this article at like 3,600 words is one of the longest that I've personally written for the review. And I'm very pleased with how this has turned out. And the best part is I only mentioned Fortnite once. Now, in case you missed it, I posted a video earlier this week talking about why I think Valve is retiring the Steam Deck LCD. And that was actually fully inspired by this article over on the Bryant Review, where it's basically the same as the video. So if you saw the video, you probably don't need to go check this out. But if you want to read it, you can head over here. Now, these are my thoughts here, of course. It's not based on anything except my kind of intuition on this topic. But to put it simply, I think that Valve is using the Steam Deck as a pricing anchor for the new hardware coming out in 2026. If you're not familiar with pricing anchors, you can check out the article down below. Anyway, the article is doing very well, and I think the video is doing well also, so it's nice to see. Then Dash published a review of the Trimui Smart Pro S. This thing is, taking some design cues from the PSP, and this device was sent over by Trimui to Dash for review. This is a modest upgrade to the previous entry in this series of devices, and it's priced incredibly decently as well. So if you're interested in a retro emulation handheld, this is right up there. It's got an all-winner A523 2.5 gigahertz CPU. It has the ARM Mali GPU, the G57MC1 at 744 megahertz. For RAM, it has 1 gigabyte of LPDDR4. It has 8 gigabytes of internal storage, as well as SD card expansion, and it has a 720p display. And that might sound a little anemic if you're looking for like the highest end gaming device, but this thing is only like $100, and it can play pretty much everything up to the PSP, which is kind of phenomenal. And of course, this being one of Dash's articles, I mean, they go into their signature attention to detail, and honestly, I am envious of how they're able to write so thoughtfully about hardware. And I don't know, I just find Dash's hardware reviews to be just incredible. Then we had a number of staff picks. Now, this is really exciting because almost every writer for the review was able to recommend at least 2 games that are available in the Steam Winter Sale right now. This is the longest article we published this week, and collectively we recommended over 40 games. And I think that it's hard to overstate the value of, hand curated recommendations like this. What's really nice as well is you get to kind of know the review writers. I mean, if you look at it, it's like, I clearly love roguelikes and wave shooters. I also like physics-based puzzle games. And of course, I'm recommending my own game, Doodling's Arcade Sports Ball, which is 50% off on Steam right now, which is pretty neat. But also you get to know the tastes and personality of other writers on the review. I mean, look at this. Like, James loves Dead Space, loves Peak, loves cozier games like Slime Rancher. Carl is really into 4X and strategy style games. And this article was initiated by High Tech Lowlife, right? Who is on my podcast. You can check out the podcast up here. And High Tech loves Metroidvanias, right? I mean, like I said, it's hard to overstate the value of, other people's curated lists of games. And with 40 recommendations, you're bound to find something that you're going to enjoy. And you'll probably discover a game that you had never heard of, too. Like, I had never heard of Islanders. Finally, for articles that we released over the Christmas week, Beat Saber. Beat Saber released some Coldplay DLC earlier in December, and if you follow the podcast, then you know that Beat Saber is one of the games that I play the most often, and it's because, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and it helps me manage my blood sugar, especially during the winter when it's too cold to go outside. But, I bought the Coldplay DLC for Beat Saber, and just a fair warning, Beat Saber is owned by Meta, so I don't recommend that you do what I did. I'm a bit of a hypocrite, and that's okay. But I will say, first of all, I love Coldplay. There are a bunch of standout tracks here that really utilize some of the new mechanics in Beat Saber incredibly well. My favorite track is Something Just Like This, which is a collab between Coldplay and the Chainsmokers. And this song means a lot to me personally, and it's also an incredibly fun song that feels very, very good to perform. You can check out my full review over on the site, including my review of the venues and the additional mechanics and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I truly love Beat Saber. It's so much fun. Now, on top of reviewing the articles that we posted this week, the Week in Review also provides some sneak peeks of upcoming articles. We talk about some of the content that has dropped that's kind of ancillary to the work that I do, to this channel, to the website, to my company. And there's also the structural integrity report of the review, where I break down the changes that I've made to the site, if you're into like coding and design and stuff. And we also break down the weekly analytics for the site that help inform what changes I make next. This is not only a website that's living with content, but it's also a code base that is continuously being updated with new and exciting features. And yeah, I can't tell you how much I love this site. The work that I'm doing over here is the focus of all of my creative energy now. And I'm really grateful for you to be not only watching these videos, but I've added a button here that like encourages people to discuss, leave comments and talk about the the article, the content that we're reviewing. And this seems to have worked. I mean, just adding this button here has increased the number of comments we've received this week from to 5. Like, doesn't sound like a lot, but 5 comments in 1 week is more than the comments we've received over the last 10 weeks. I'm not even kidding. So you know, it's super fun, and I love being able to talk about like the code aspect, the design aspect, the analytics aspect of running a website. It's what I've done for so many of my clients, running my company for so long. It's kind of mind-boggling that it never occurred to me to do what I do for my clients, but for myself until this year. So I don't know, it's neat. And yeah, again, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the site. Thank you to everyone who has become premium subscribers of the site. The growth that we've seen has been incredible. And this is probably going to be the last video that I make of 2025. So with that, I want to say thank you. Happy New Year. I want to say thank you to everyone who has supported the work that I've been doing for so long. It's because of your support that I'm able to continue to do this kind of work. Reporting on Linux gaming, reporting on any of the nerdy stuff that you guys seem to find appealing. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for now, though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.